tell us something that's out and interesting.
The Independent, which is on Sky Cinema and streaming services from today. Political thriller from director Amy Rice from a script by Evan Parter. Jodie Turner-Smith, who was fantastic in Queen and Slim, and then more recently was in After Yang, which was seen by too few people, but featured my favourite score of last year by Asuka Matsumiya, who brilliantly just sent me from Los Angeles a vinyl copy of the score.
Wow, nice.
I got back from Berlin and there was a vinyl copy of the After Yang score. Anyway, so she's Elisha Ellie, a journalist working at the Washington Chronicle, for which read...
Washington Post?
Exactly.
Okay.
The US is approaching an election in which Pat Turnbull undoubtedly is possibly set to become the first female president, although with policies that will set progress back decades. America needs a woman president, we're told, but not this woman. When the journalist boss demands new ideas, she says, oh, look, I have very good information that this independent Nate Sterling, played by John Cena,
okay,
former wrestling star, which will come up later on in the show, is about to announce, and she knows this because her boyfriend is working on his campaign. His pitch, John Cena's pitch, is that America needs its right and its left legs to stand up straight, you see? And he is an unaffiliated centrist, therefore it's country before party. The paper takes the story, but they don't give it to our heroine until columnist Nick Booker, played by Brian Cox, not the other Brian Cox, takes her under his wing to help him write his column because he wants to pass on the banner to someone new. Here's a clip. Now, the first thing I'd like to say is love both of those performers. Nobody speaks like that in the real world. So she figures out that money is being diverted from the lottery that should be going to schools and, good causes to a super PAC. And it's, one of the big political parties are doing this. And he's skeptical, but after she comes up with some evidence, which she comes into in a roundabout way, he starts to think she's onto something. And they start to investigate this political corruption. Now, it's impossible not to compare anything in this genre with, All the President's Men. And when we were reviewing The Post, did you interview Meryl Streep for The Post, or was it Spielberg?
It was Spielberg.
It was Spielberg,
yes.
Fine. We're saying it's interesting how what the Post tries to do is to mimic the style of All the President's Men. Why are you looking confused?
No, I'm just trying to remember whether it was.
But so there's a kind of thing that you can almost watch the Post and then it segues straight into the opening of All the President's Men because it actually ends with the Watergate building being broken into. And this is sort of the high point. I've also, I always cite broadcast news in terms of broadcast journalism as being something I think is a really interesting film. What it's also not possible to avoid comparison with is Succession, because obviously Brian Cox in Succession is about newspaper, media, politics, greed, avarice, corruption, all that sort of stuff. And I have to say that in both those cases of All the President's Men on the one hand and Succession on the other, this doesn't come out of it favourably. It is not a comparison which does this any favours at all. Now, arguably, because both of those things are great works of art, but arguably because this is kind of all over the place. It's very melodramatic. It's very clunky. It's very contrived. It might have worked better if John Cena's character was running for governor rather than for the presidency. Because it's just, you think, no, I don't believe in any of this. I don't believe that this situation is as it is. I don't believe the way in which the information is revealed. I don't believe the way in which the information comes out. I mean, I kind of enjoyed it on a sort of, straightforward potboiler level for about half an hour. But after a while, it did become a little bit ridiculous. There is also a thing at the end. If you're going to watch this film, jump forward now 2 minutes in the podcast, because the film ends with Jodie Turner-Smith and Brian Cox having been completely disillusioned with politics and the newspaper industry, deciding that they are going to set themselves up with a new thing. And she says, "We're going to start a new thing together, and it's going to be driven by the truth. It's not going to be driven by money and politics. It's going to be driven by the truth." And Brian Cox, bear in mind, both of these actors are from the UK, and he says, "Okay, and what are we going to call it?" And she says, "The Independent." And you can hear the whole of going, no,
I think we've done that.
We've done that, and
it's the I, and it's just online.
It's just, you would have thought somebody in the script writing department would have gone, and then they say the Independent. Is that going to be a problem anywhere? Anywhere? Is that going to be a problem? Also, both the people in the scene would have gone, how are we going to get through this scene without laughing?
The only time I ever interviewed Woody Allen, which was, I think, in Radio One Day, so it's a long time ago.
Yeah, wow.
The movie, in the movie, he says his girlfriend is called Margaret Beckett. And everyone in the screening laughed because at the time she was the deputy leader of the Labour Party. And he didn't know that, obviously. So I said, a name chosen completely at random got you one of the biggest laughs in the film. Anyway, he wasn't particularly pleased, and I don't know why I mentioned it. Okay, so The Independent, well, that sounds disappointing. Okay, thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. While you're here, check out all the other videos because they're cool too, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you want to keep up to date with everything Kermode and Mayo's Take, then check out our social channels.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I would. I have done.
Excellent.